Hi, welcome to the Crochet Authority podcast, the best and maybe smallest corner of the internet, where three incredibly talented and beautiful women claim to know everything there is to know about fiber arts.
We are Morgan,
Anna,
And Savannah.
three crocheters turned BFFs who consistently have too much to say.
consider this a glimpse into not only our conversations, but our overflowing and powerful minds. From our group chat to your ears, welcome to the pod.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Wow.
It's us again. Hey guys,
Hey.
how we doing? How we doing, chat?
Tired.
So well. Oh, also tired.
Okay.
Because I just woke up, and Morgan is probably
Yes.
like halfway through her day.
Yep.
Yep. London things.
Tired for two different reasons. Yeah, for sure. Okay,
yeah.
well,
That's the main part of me right now is I'm tired.
Real.
mhm.
But that's okay.
What else?
We persist.
What else have you been up to?
Oh.
Crocheting,
Sorry, such a hard
Okay.
question that I asked.
filming a tutorial, writing
Okay.
3 patterns.
Love.
Love it.
Just a
You're
few
really on
things.
your grind. Just a
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's me.
Busy time.
Cute.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a lot of stuff, but also, dare I say, nothing at the same time. So much yet so little.
No, I'm doing
Endlessly
just
busy.
a lot.
And then okay, perfect.
Yeah, no,
Perfect.
it's actually just a lot of things.
Just a lot all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm writing for these self-imposed deadlines
Mhm.
to come and go and finish everything.
Well, dare I say that's good.
Yeah.
That's something most people don't do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I made them for myself and then I like released them to the public
Mm.
to hold myself accountable,
Mm.
which I guess is technically working.
Hmm.
I should totally do that.
So
That's
here
kind of
we
a smart
are.
idea. Instead of having you guys as caricatures in my head, I should just like tell the public, make one of those Instagram countdowns. So like one random
I
person
know.
turns on notifications, and I'm like, I can't disappoint them.
Yeah, real.
So
I
I
need
need
started any new projects recently, Morgan, or just working
No.
on patterns and stuff?
just patterns and stuff. I'm still working on my levitate wrap. I have finished the sleeves. And so now I have to do like the in the bottom
Yeah,
Cool.
real.
and the so
Yeah. Love the way you
but
described
I
that.
have
Thank
to
you.
I have to gauge because it's like double knit for like the border part
Oh, really?
with
Yeah.
like 5mm needles, and I have to gauge it. She's like, make sure it's right, and I'm like, so true. I should do that. So
Yes, ma'am.
I guess I will, but I don't like particularly want to.
You're so strong and brave. You can do it.
So we'll see. How about you, Anna?
It's my last day of class today.
Snaps.
Everyone's so excited. I'm so excited to be
Yay.
done.
Mhm.
Particularly one of the classes that I have today. I'm so excited to be done with forever. I'm
Best
just
feeling.
excited to like have time to do my own art again.
Mm.
I'm really entering a like I don't know, a getting my spark back journey, I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm calling it. So I'm excited for that, and I'm still working on it, but this is coming out after the event. I'm crocheting a blanket for my cousin for her wedding, and I'm happy that I'm doing it. My goal is to like crochet a blanket for like all of my family members of my generation as they get married, or like maybe they like move into like a forever home or something. So my cousin, she's the first one to get married, so she's the first one to get a blanket.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Cute.
realize when I bought the pattern that so I admittedly don't know as much about like different crocheting types and techniques as I should and want to, which actually goes a little bit along like some of the stuff that we talk about today. So I didn't realize that mosaic crochet was different than like, I don't know if it would be considered to be like intarsia in crochet, because I know that's a knitting term, but like switching, like kind of like what
just normal
color work, like
yeah.
what you did with your blanket, Savannah.
Yeah.
I thought mosaic crochet was like the same thing until I bought the pattern and was like, oh no, it's clearly completely different. It's not challenging, it's actually very fun, but it means that I'm building up a blanket basically with stitches that are like the height of single crochets.
Oh, really?
Which is brutal.
Yeah.
Like, that is tough, especially when the wedding is less than 2 weeks away. And the blanket is not anywhere close to being done. Oh. Yes. So that is where I'm at.
Okay.
But I'm also at a point where I'm like, I can do it. Mm-hmm. Because today's my last day of class, the only other thing that I have to be worried about is going to my job. Mm-hmm. And I will clock in, clock out, and I'll come home, and the rest of the time I will work on this blanket. Like, I know that I'm not gonna work on much else for the next couple weeks leading up to the wedding.
You can get it done.
I'm genuinely not concerned. I know it's just gonna be, like, a lot of work, but it's, with the timeline that I have over the next couple weeks, I luckily have the time that I'm able to do it. So, that's, like, the big thing that I'm working on right now that I haven't been able to talk about, just because my cousin follows me on everything, and I don't think she listens to this, but, like... I don't want her wedding gift to get spoiled.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Awful. Just in case. So that's what I've been working on. And also I got my bangs trimmed.
Yeah.
I feel like Savannah.
Exactly.
Whenever I wear my bangs out, I feel like me and Savannah look like sisters.
All bangs are sisters.
I will not be getting bangs.
Brunette and bangs.
Bangs.
Well, not for me.
You also have curly red hair. So.
Yeah, I do have curly hair.
Different.
Savannah?
Anyways, Savannah.
Have I ever told you guys that I haven't gotten like a real haircut in 8 years now?
Yes.
Yes.
So, because if you remember last summer, we sat on FaceTime together.
Oh yeah, and I cut my
Savannah
bangs.
was there?
No. It was just me and Savannah. You weren't there.
Whoa.
You weren't there, Morgan, because it was like 11 o'clock out.
Yeah.
Oh,
super late.
And Savannah goes, should I try to cut Dakota Johnson bangs?
Yeah. These bangs are
and you're just cutting like chunks of hair.
Yeah.
And then that's when you were telling me about how you haven't gotten a haircut in like 8 years.
And I think
that's
okay.
Such a memory.
We persist.
It's real.
You can cut your own hair. It's straight anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not hard.
Like there's nothing complicated going on my head. I can figure it out, hopefully. Sometimes people are like especially some of the men I know, they're like, oh, you always cut your own hair. Can you cut mine? I'm like, no. You do not want that. I don't want that. I don't want to mess it up. If you want the exact same haircut as me, yes, perfect. But anything else, I don't really know about that.
Sometimes I do cut my own hair. Not like a full haircut, but like pieces.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, I kind of want these shorter. Let me cut them.
Yeah. It's easy.
Piece here then.
I'll do, because my bangs, I get them cut so I can wear them like this, or I can like push them to the side and have them be curtain bangs.
Yeah.
Because my hair is like a little bit shag-esque.
Yeah.
So I'll cut like the middle pieces and just trim them in between getting haircut / bang trims. But I will, I know my limits. I'm not going to try to like do what she does with a razor. Like I'm not, no. But I'll admit to her, I'll be like, I cut the middle piece. And she's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
Who cares? But outside of that, I have finished the cat blanket pattern. Thank you.
Yes!
Thank you. Okay, well, not finished.
It's written.
It's written. It's written is what's important. So with my patterns, I do like the base text version, which is just like the base text, and sometimes an image or two, but it's just supposed to be like super printer friendly, because when I was first writing patterns, I didn't know that people printed them out. I thought everyone loved technology these days, but it turns out people do. A lot of people do. So now I make a printer friendly version. But the version that I really like, and the version that I originally only made, was the one like with like images, like colors, and like nice things that just looks a lot better to look at. It's not good for your printer because I like to use like color backgrounds and stuff. It is a lot of fun to look at on your phone, on your laptop. But I haven't made that version yet. Been just arranging all the text and images takes so long. And I haven't really looked over the base text yet. I finished it yesterday, and then I was like, should I look over this? Nah, I'll just send it to Anne and Morgan. They'll do it all for me. So I should probably still look over that. I'm so afraid it doesn't make any sense at all. It's like 90% like tips, not even tips and tricks, just like things you need to know and things you need to read to be able to make the blanket pattern without like to be able to manage your colors and not have a million ends to weave in and all these different sorts of things. But whenever I'm reading a pattern, like I don't read that kind of stuff. I jump straight to like the step one.
Yeah.
So I'm just scared no one will read it and then everyone will be like, this is the worst pattern ever.
I'm having the same issues right now with the pattern that I'm writing. It's just like explaining on like where to put the yarn, when to carry the yarn, when to catch it, when to like.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it that I think of automatically.
Yes.
But other people wouldn't think of automatically.
Yeah, exactly.
And I
was trying to. How do you put these things into words? Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if I was talking about this to you guys the other day. If I was, forgive me. But no. I think I was. Yeah. About the wrapping the yarn around your fingers. Like
yeah, that was last episode.
Yeah.
2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago.
But I figured out how I wanted to word that. It's probably way over explained. It's probably like 3 paragraphs long.
Like a 30-page pattern.
Yeah. And it's literally useless. Like, I don't know.
Babe, just find a YouTube link.
No, I know, but like I don't want the customer I imagine in my mind constantly is this grandma who doesn't have access to the internet and her granddaughter has printed out this pattern for her, and so I can't include links. I will. The text will highlight if you like have it. But if it's printed out like and it's like an old person who doesn't even know how to download a digital file on Etsy, I have no hope for them. Like actually, because I would love to. That's like I don't know. I think people who like find all the resources and YouTube links, like that's great. That's perfect.
But I do think it is important to actually explain things in your patterns sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless it's like, I don't know, some people, I've gotten messages before being like, you said this was beginner friendly, but it like doesn't explain how to double crochet. And it's like,
yeah,
what?
There is some knowledge that you should have going into crocheting something, i.e. how to crochet.
Yeah. Number 1.
But also it's like, I think there's a balance between like explaining how to do certain things, but like people should know how to do them, or if they don't, look it up.
Yeah.
It's also it definitely is tough for pattern writing because you want to make sure that it's like you should explain stuff, because if you don't and you just include the YouTube link, while you think it's like it is self-explanatory enough, if you can like access it, like let's say it's a digital download, you have to try to cover all your bases, because if people decide not to do the work, if they like decide not to read all the stuff that comes before the pattern actually starts, they could still leave a negative review just because they decided it wasn't exactly fed to them in the right way. So it is kind of tough to like figure out like how much or how little to say of something, because someone will always find something wrong.
They always
will. In my like ripple patterns, I have a page that explains the wave and how it works, because that's like the biggest confusion for people. At the top of the page it says in capital letters, please read, and people still don't read it.
Like, what do you do past a certain point?
I've gotten into the habit, partially because I've done a couple of pattern tests, so I obviously want to read the full pattern, because sometimes there's typos in the intro, and that, like, if I'm trying to be a helpful tester, I'm gonna point that out to the person. But I've gotten into the habit of, like, making sure I at least skim every single thing on the pattern, and I will decide if it's information that I need to read or not. Like, for me, I like when a pattern, like for the sweater number 15 that I've been working on, she'll explain how to do a technique in writing and then add a link to a video. I work better when I can like physically see it happening. So I don't necessarily read that, but I know that that's there if I like need to reference it quickly, but I'll watch the video instead, if that makes sense. So it's like, I feel like most people just, and I get it, like you're excited to start the pattern, but it's like such good practice. I feel like this actually leads like perfectly into what we're going to talk about today.
OMG.
Which is crazy, which is, we're going to talk about things that we wish we knew sooner. But I honestly did wish I knew that, like, yeah, you would assume that when you buy a pattern, you should read the full thing. But it's like, you're so excited to like jump in and make it that it's like, you just want to get to like that part, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to know this like beginning like groundwork stuff in order to have a successful project for the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely wish that that was something that I had done sooner, because I probably would have saved myself a good amount of frustration following other people's patterns just because of my own,
Yeah.
I don't know, aloofness.
Yeah. Real.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. But yeah.
Stunning.
So stunning. Our I think the first thing we wanted to cover, though, just in terms of like what, at least what I wish I knew whenever I first started crocheting, because I think a lot of people, and a lot of people who watch this podcast probably picked up crocheting from like seeing it on social media, not necessarily from the people in their lives. Because if you picked it up from someone in your life, that's awesome. It's great that you have someone you can go to for advice and things, but some of us don't. So the internet is all we have. And whenever I was first starting, I was so concerned that I was going to get the wrong type of yarn and then my project was going to be the worst ever. And it was going to be a failure and everything was going to be bad because I wasn't buying like a lot of people, this is discourse that will continue forever. But they're like, acrylic yarn is the worst ever. And if you use it in a project, you're a worthless human being. And I started crocheting during the pandemic, and I just went to my first outing out of the house was to Walmart to buy yarn in the summer. And so all they had was acrylic. Do you think Walmart is going to have like nice 100% wool, 100% cotton?
They literally,
No.
all they have is acrylic, and like, there is cotton, but it's like
Really?
weird.
It's probably like the sugar and cream that I
Weird
literally
cotton.
hate it. Yeah. But yeah, I think the primary thing that I wish I knew starting off, because I was so scared with my first project, but just that you don't need the best materials in the world to start. Just start. Just, and even for more experienced crocheters, like it doesn't matter. Don't wait for the perfect yarn to come along sometimes. If you want that, that's cool and that's fine. But sometimes the budget will not appear for it within the next even like year or so. So just if you
Also,
want to make something, make it.
if you have it, use it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Crazy. Yeah, when I first, for a while when I started crochet, like I didn't really start using wool until I moved here.
Mm.
Like proper, like 100% wool till I moved here. And that was more of like an accessibility issue. Because, I mean, everything in Canada is expensive, but like the only thing that we really have is like Michaels and Lovecrafts. And it's all primarily, acrylic, which is great because I like working with color. So it's a lot of colors, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But wool is like, it's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And there are very few yarn stores where I live. So it's like hard to get to, and you can't order, and you have to buy as much as you can, like as much as you might need in case they run out. Acrylic is more than fine. Acrylic is
Yeah.
great. It's durable.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's colorful.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm using it right now.
Yeah. Same.
It's also a matter of, at least to me, the idea that like there's going to be like a best something, it just means that you've given someone else the power to be the standard.
Mm.
And like
Yeah.
that's also unfair to yourself, because if you constantly are in search of like the best thing, you're one, never going to be satisfied, and two, you're never going to start.
Yeah. That's true.
And
That's
especially like this is like Savannah, you were saying how you felt this like way in the beginning of whatever, but like of your journey, but it's like if you constantly were waiting until you had the money to buy like the best stuff that like people who have been working for 5-10 years are using consistently, it's like you're never going to begin. You kind of just have to like start somewhere and know like, okay, like I don't necessarily want to use acrylic yarn forever, but it's affordable, it's accessible, and in the case that I never pick up this craft again, I didn't spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like just kind of allow yourself to start and know that you might want to like grow into something different. Like you might want to be able to use exclusively like wool or hand dyed or whatever, but you don't have to start where you want to end.
Yeah. Real.
Words
You
of
can
wisdom.
change. Whoa.
Crazy.
I think that I also experienced this whenever I was trying to make a super chunky knit for the first time because they were super trendy. And I loved like the look of what other people were doing with them. And I would go to Joanne and see like their like off-brand like super chunky, and I'd be like, no, I'm gonna wait till I can get wool in the gang and I find some on like eBay or something. And then I got some on eBay, and I hated it so much. It's not my thing to work with. Their super chunky wool is like, what is it, roving or non-roving?
Roving.
Roving, yeah. Like, it's just not twisted. It doesn't stay together. It pills really easy, which people don't really show you on social media. And it's fine. Like, that just, it takes a little bit more maintenance, but that's not something I'm interested in and not something I knew. And I wish I hadn't, like, waited so long and built up the idea of this yarn in my head. It's like, okay, I'm going to make this and it's going to be perfect because everyone on social media, like, they use it and it looks perfect. But that takes maintenance and no one tells you that. So, yeah. I wish I had realized that sooner, that I should not hold out for this one gorgeous yarn that's going to change all my projects. It's not. It might. Maybe one day I'll try something different and be like, wow, I need to use this yarn forever and ever. But the day has not come yet.
Didn't I end up buying that yarn from you?
Probably. Yeah.
The pink.
I got so much of it. I had like a bookshelf full of it because it takes up a lot of space. Like one skein takes up a lot of space. And I would just hunt on eBay for it constantly for people that from people that didn't know like what they had and what price is super low. So I just made a big collection of it because I was like, maybe it's the color that I don't like. It wasn't. I just didn't like any of it.
That's tough.
So sad. Yeah.
Yeah, the grass is always greener. Acrylic really is like such a solid choice.
Mm-hmm. Real.
This is true.
Beautiful.
Next.
This next one is one that I really wish I knew sooner because I feel like I'm still trying to learn it now, which is really hard to unlearn, is that I should just like be frogging my projects more. Like if it's not coming out the way I want it to, if it's not perfect, and I use perfect loosely because nothing will ever be perfect, but like instead of being like, oh, it'll almost fit, it's like, girl, undo it, take the time and redo those like couple of stitches that you need to add or take off and make it so it actually fits. Especially because a lot of what I enjoy making is clothing. I want it to fit me in a very specific way. It's why I like making my own clothing so I can have clothes that fit me the way I want. Why am I not taking the time to make sure they fit the way I want?
Yeah.
Like, I should just frog my projects more.
That's my one thing that I will always preach. Frog it. Frog it. Yeah. I am known to frog a project one too many times.
I love watching your videos because you frog your projects too much. Like, it's actually like you need to frog less. You need to learn to be okay with things.
No. If it's not the way I want it, I'm going to frog it.
Yeah.
And I think that's genuinely a good mindset to have because it's like, obviously not everything you're going to make, even if you think you're going to like it, like you might not end up liking the fit of it, like whatever, but it shouldn't be because of your own, and I say this to myself, not like you guys or the viewers or whatever, like I shouldn't dislike something because of my own laziness.
Yeah.
Like you're taking all this time to make it in the first place. Take an extra couple of hours to make it the way that you want it to be so that you'll actually enjoy the final product rather than just being like, it'll be fine. It won't be fine.
Just
take some more time.
Frog.
Yeah. Frog
I
it.
did want
It's
to
okay.
add
it
on
hurts,
to this.
But it's worth it.
It's not fun. But this also applies, I think, to after you've finished a project and you're not wearing it. I think that's the most common
That's
time
also true.
I frog. Like, I have so many pieces.
I do that as well.
I have a whole bookshelf now. Not a whole bookshelf, but a good amount of a bookshelf dedicated to pieces. And I actively try to wear them, but past a certain point, there's too many. Like, I can't wear a full crochet outfit every single day. I try, and it'd be nice if I could. But especially the summer heat doesn't really account for that. So, like, if I'm not wearing it, I want more yarn for different projects, and I want to spend more money, just take the yarn from something else. Like the purple hardalls I made kind of recently. I say recently, probably like 5 months ago. But recently in my heart.
Yeah.
They were in spirit. Yes. There was this pair of solar flares that I never wore. And I was like kind of scared to frog them for some reason because they performed like pretty well on Instagram whenever I posted photos of the solar flares. And I was like, I can't frog them. Like, they were like popular.
They got so many likes on Instagram.
Yeah. What is that? No, I'm not wearing them. I'm not going to post more photos of them. I'm not going to like, the only justification would be like, I could include them in more TikToks, but like, I don't do that. I do that very rarely. And I have another pair of solar flares that I could include still if I want to. like the original pair. I also keep stuff because it's like the first one I made, but I really shouldn't do that. I'm not attached to it like I think I want to be. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Like, and the reusing the yarn that you have, like for all your projects that you're not wearing, does go also with like the first thing that we were saying. Like, if you have it around, use it. Like,
Yeah. Look beyond just your yarn stash and into what
Yeah.
you've already made and don't really use.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
The next one is sweet and simple. When you're doing a gauge swatch, make the swatch bigger than the gauge because you should not be measuring the ends and the top and bottom rows.
Yep.
So if it's like, oh, it's 4 inches by 4 inches, add 5 stitches to each end, add 2 or 3 rows to the top and the bottom. Golden. Because the majority of your project is not the end or the beginning of the row.
Yes.
It's the middle of the row.
Oh yeah, because your tension is different for the beginning of and ends of rows. Like that's not going to be your tension for the project.
Yeah, it's also like just genuinely like harder to measure. Like if you make a perfect like 2x2 swatch, like it's actually just so annoying to try to measure that, and it's so much easier to just like make it a little bit bigger on each side so you're measuring on the inside. And then also from that, because this is genuinely something that I didn't know up until like maybe a month and a half ago when I had to frog my dress and I was talking to Morgan, like your gauge swatch should always be 4 inches by 4 inches.
At least.
Like, I never knew that, genuinely. Like, because I would see other people or like in patterns or whatever doing like 2x2. I've seen people do like an inch by an inch, and it's just like you're not going to get enough of like how the fabric performs with a little bit of movement, with tension, whatever. It's like the bigger you get it, the more likely it's going to match something that matches a big project like a sweater or a dress or whatever.
It'll be, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So it's like not only like make the gauge swatch bigger, but also like just make a big gauge swatch.
Yeah.
It'll save you heartache, because I've had many projects I've had to frog because my gauge was so different because I didn't allow myself enough wiggle room.
Yeah. It's gonna, like, 10 more minutes of work is gonna save you hours of work in the long run. And, like, everyone says this, and it's pretty hard to do if you're, I don't know, dedicated to just starting the project. But, I don't know. And I think this gauge does only apply to wearables and stuff. Like, if you're making a toy or you're making a blanket, and, like, you don't really care if it turns out a little bit smaller or bigger, like, fine, whatever. You don't have to make a gauge swatch. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like, I did not gauge swatch the blanket. I was like, it's just gonna happen.
Every time I've made like a plushie or whatever, which is very rarely because I don't like making them, I never swatch.
Yeah, which is fine. Like,
so if she's a little wide, she's a little wide.
Yeah,
nothing I can do about it.
But if you're planning on actually wearing it and you want it to be the right size, maybe you should consider if your gauge is the right size. I get a lot of questions from people, not a lot. Anytime I say I get a lot of questions, it means I've gotten maybe 10 over the course of my entire crochet career.
Inundated.
But because a lot of my patterns are patchwork, a lot of people message me. The standard size for the flower rolls patch, fun fact, is 5 by 5 inches. And a lot of people will message me and be like, hey, my square is like 3 by 3 inches. How do I fix this? And sometimes I'm like, you can't. What? How are you doing that? Crazy. That's tiny. What? That's way small. Like, at a certain point, I'm just like, like, just use like a bigger yarn. Yeah. I remember for the flower rolls, my first ever testing group, my first ever pattern. I think I've told you guys this, that someone ordered their yarn from Shein, and it was all different sizes, and they would message me being like, I don't know why it's looking like this, and I was like, I don't know how to help you. What are you doing? What?
I have no comment on that, actually. No comment.
What do you do with that? Like, actually? Like, I don't know. I recommend, like, making a square for your gauge in the pattern now. Like, I have a separate gauge that will probably get you there. But they were, like, doing that part, and they were like, it keeps on turning out terrible. I was like, I don't know.
So, this next one, I think, is, like, it's complicated. I don't know if there'll ever be, like, a great balance, but it's just, I guess, something that I wish like was like a seed that was planted. is that joining in on social media to be a part of the community is, to me, so important. Obviously, like, this podcast is a product of, like, joining into a community and, like, seeking out people who are similar to you. And it's like, we obviously are not the only group of people. Like, Jada and Emma, like, Made in the Moment, the two of them, really good friends that I'm almost positive met through Fiverr. It's like, a lot of people, like, there's so much fun to be had in a community. And following people to get inspired by them and to keep up with, like, their style, because so many people are, like, distinct. Like, I always think of Kendall. Like, I love seeing the new stuff that she does. So being able to be a part of a community definitely makes it more exciting to have, like, a craft and a hobby, in my opinion. Like, it's definitely been such a joy for me. But you should make sure that you're not living too deep into it to the point that you lose sense of, like, the joy, if that makes sense. Like, comparison, as we all know, is the theft of joy. That's been said a million times over, and it will be said a million times more. But if I let myself get too deep into the fiber arts community and I let yeah.
You just turned my mic off.
He said silent.
He
Shut
said,
up.
Stop.
You weren't even talking too.
No,
Oh my god. Anyways,
said enough. Sorry. You just left up there, Jesus.
all right, should I try to start over?
No, I'm gonna keep that in.
Okay. Anyways, I did lose my train of thought. What was I even saying?
Deep joy.
Yeah. Essentially, like, finding a balance for yourself in which you can, like, have fun and join in on a community is so important, and it will absolutely make you a better artist, because I'm a firm believer that expanding your view helps you learn more about yourself. But you don't want that to get so, like, take you over so much that, like, you lose sight of who you are as an artist, and you don't give yourself time to, like, genuinely, like, be alone and just think about your own ideas and your own concepts, because you're so busy comparing yourself to other people. So that's why, like, this one is a tough concept, because it's so many parts moving, but it's just like, to find a balance for yourself, whatever that means, because it'll be different for every person, I think is really important. And, like, the earlier you can start it, the stronger that habit will become, like, the further along you go. Like, you're exercising a muscle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you said about, like, being part of the community will, like, actually help you in the long run. I think, like, especially when I was first writing my patterns, I wish I had like, you two, or just, like, anyone that knew crochet in my life to look over them and be like, hey, this is wrong, that's wrong. Because since then, like, I have had to fix the pattern, like, over the years, finding mistakes and things, or just ways I can improve it, or things like that. Because I also, like, wasn't aware that, like, tech editors existed that I could have paid to do that work as well. But yeah, just learning everything you can is so helpful. I don't know. I wish I could still talk about the Reddit crochet community, but they've banned me, so I can't. But that's a good place to start as well, because people, even if you, he's coming over here, even if you like, don't have a ton of engagement on your post, like, even if your post doesn't get, like, thousands of upvotes on the subreddit, people will still see it. Like, I used to sort posts by, like, new and just comment on stuff, because it's a nice little community. That same thing will not happen on Instagram. People don't really look for stuff that has little likes. So I would say also just explore different platforms whenever you're looking for that community.
That's so true.
See if your cat wants to join the platform too. Jesus Christ.
He just wants to be involved.
Yeah, he wants
to join a community.
Next guest on the podcast.
Ooh, if he learns to talk, then absolutely.
Yes. His name is also Yorgos, after Yorgos Lanthimos. So he can talk about his upcoming movie, Kinds of Kindness, with Emma Stone.
True.
Yeah. Welcome to the pod.
Perfect. The next two, I think, are kind of go hand in hand a little bit. The first one is when you're starting out and you're watching, even when you're not starting out, I still watch tutorials to this day.
Mm-hmm.
When you're watching a tutorial, watch multiple. Don't just watch one. If you like the first one you watch, great. But if you're like, I don't really like the way this person is explaining things, watch another, watch another, watch another. There are so many tutorials for the exact same thing out there, and everyone explains things differently. Everyone crochets differently. Sometimes I don't like the way people like hold their yarn. I can't explain it, but sometimes it like literally bothers me to look at. So I'll just find another tutorial.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's a bad tutorial. It just doesn't
Yeah.
work for you, and not everything is going to work for you. So watch a lot of tutorials. That's why they're there. That's why people are making them. And then also something that I still do, and I did when I was first starting, is I'll watch tutorials for things that I'm not making to learn techniques.
Yeah.
Just like listening, even while I was like crocheting something else, just to listen and see how they're doing things. Like it 100% helps me when like writing patterns and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna build off of that as well, just in terms of watching tutorials and things. I don't know how to like put this super well, but whenever you're first starting out, or even down the line after you've started, I think it's so important whenever you're learning how to crochet or learning a new technique to actually understand how it like works at its foundation. Like it's one thing to passively watch one tutorial and then do it and then like maybe forget it and have to revisit it down the line. That's me with Magic Ring. I haven't like figured out the logistics of it yet, and so I just don't do it. I don't know it. I probably could, but I just don't care enough. I like my chain 4 and slip stitch into the first chain. But whenever I was first starting out, I was crocheting single crochets like probably 12 hours a day, every single day. And so in my mind at night, like I would try like Queen's Gambit kind of stuff. I would try to visualize what was like how those stitches are made, like why they look like that on the front side and the back side, what goes into the stitch to make it, I don't know. And then I would do the same for double crochet and half double crochet. And I think it helps a lot. Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's just so important to, I think, fundamentally know what's going on, especially once you're past a certain point. I think you can excuse it once you're like a super beginner or anything like that. But I think it's helped me so much, especially whenever I'm learning a new tutorial, to be like, oh, okay, this is why that stitch looks like that. And it helps a lot just in the memorization of it and being able to use it in like, I don't know, further projects and things like that. And if you if you ever need to like adjust a pattern for your own liking, like with the heart square for the heartalls, I looked up a tutorial for like a heart square on YouTube, but I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like the way it laid. I didn't like the stitch count wasn't even on every side, and stitch count is like one off on one side still in my pattern. But I don't know, it was, you just have to be able, if you want to be able to like really get creative with it and not always rely on tutorials, I think it's so necessary to be able to understand how you can fix things through knowing how the stitches work. It gets pretty technical, I think, as with most things with crochet and counting and things like that. But I don't know. It's just so important when you're learning to truly actually learn it. I think that's what we're getting at.
This is true.
I think my other biggest piece of advice that I wish I knew, and I should still probably tell myself sometimes because sometimes I hate myself along the way for not following it, but it's just to weave in your ends as you go. Figure out different techniques to weave them in as you go. Or like I just crochet over my ends now. It will probably get me in trouble one day. It hasn't yet. But even if you don't like crochet over them, just as you finish a section, take 5 minutes and go back and finish it section by section. My first ever project, didn't weave in a single end and had to do it again for like, I don't know, an hour or two. It's the worst ever. So yeah.
Agree.
Ends management is so important.
Agreed.
I don't know if you guys remember those cat blankets I used to make. I don't know, they had a ton of color changes. I used to cut the yarn off and tie new yarn on every single time there was a color change, which was just so stupid. I didn't use like bobbins or anything because I just didn't know, and the pattern didn't include any advice like that. But whenever I finished it, I had to take, because I was doing it for my mom's Christmas present, and so I was like, okay, I have this many days to like finish it, and I went super fast on it, and then I had like 3 days left, and I was like, wow, like I'm perfect. And then there was an entire back of, like the entire back was just ends And I had to take like an extra 2 days to just sit there and weave them in over and over and over again. It was exhausting, absolutely exhausting. But we persist.
Weave in your ends, people, as you go.
Yes, it helps quite a lot.
I cannot say that, but
I don't know. Like there are some people, some freaks who don't who enjoy weaving in their ends. What? I wish I was that kind of person. Yeah, could not be me. Disgusting, gross, abhorrent, not normal, etc.
On the attack.
Imagine someone's watching this. If you're watching this weaving in your ends, you know what to do. Send it to the Instagram. Make Savannah feel bad for being mean.
I won't feel bad. This is the one thing I fear I can get canceled over. If this is what gets me
the hill that you're gonna die on.
Yeah, this is the hill I will die on. If you enjoy weaving in your ends, you're like, I don't know, nature did a number on you. There's something different in your brain.
What's going on in the brain?
I wish I could
crazy.
achieve. Yeah.
The last thing is for crafters all around, but especially if you like to sit and work for a while, make sure that you're taking care of your body. Like, this is the only body that you get. That doesn't just go for, like, the way you treat it, like, on the daily and, like, how kind you are to yourself. Like, showing yourself the kindness of, like, getting up and actively stretching. And stretch for, like, 5 minutes. Like, move intentionally. Don't just, like, get up and sit back down. Like, move your body. Take care of your wrists. Because, obviously, whether you're knitting or crocheting or, like, you're using your hands and your wrists a lot, and that's a lot of wear and tear on them, especially in the beginning when these are all new movements. Like, when I sit down and I work for a while after not working for an extended period of time, I am sore. Like I can feel that my muscles were moved in a way that it wasn't used to be moving. So, like, do these. Like, just, it doesn't have to be complicated, but just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because you will very much regret it when it's undoable down the line.
Also, your neck and your back. I feel like people don't talk about it that much.
Yeah.
But you're looking down a lot.
Yeah. You are hunched.
So just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah,
that's a big part of it too.
It's the whole body. For me, it's like I sit on my bed and I find most comfort like sitting kind of crunched up. That's not good for my hips and lower back or my knees. Like, I need to move. You know what I mean? Like, move the whole body. Go outside and, like, take a quick walk for 5 minutes. Like, I understand, like, for someone like me, if I have, like, a deadline for something and I need to finish a project, it could feel like those 5 minutes are, like, such a waste of time. But, like, at the end of the day,
I can get a whole row done.
Like, this project is temporary. Like, you will have your body far longer than you will have this project. So, like, just take care of it, because it would suck if you had to stop crocheting or knitting forever because you weren't taking care of yourself. So it's important.
Preach. And I think
Go ahead.
No, go Savannah.
I had one of my friends' siblings, their senior year of college, was typing too much, and they got carpal tunnel from it. Like, they had to wear wrist stuff and could not. Like, they were doing, like, applications to all these very fancy places, and I don't know, just typing a whole lot. They needed to be typing a whole lot, but because they didn't take those, like, 5 minutes every once in a while, they were infinitely slower after the pain hit. So you really don't want that.
There's this, like, phrase that chefs use that, like, slow is precise and precise is fast. Where it's, like, if you, like, slow down and you're able to, like, do things with more precision and care, you'll actually be faster. So it's like, I feel like for us, it's like the slowing down is the taking the break and, like, the walking away from it for a second, and instead of just trying to push through and, like, hurting yourself. Because, oh my god, when I was in college, like, typing a ton, or, like, for me, it's using my trackpad to, like, do the Adobe stuff on Illustrator and Photoshop, video editing, and then crocheting. Like, my hands and wrists, I'm surprised I didn't hurt them more.
She's tired.
So, like, take care of yourself. It's so important.
One of my friends pointed out the other day that whenever I, like, talk with my hands, because I do quite a lot, Apparently my fingers are normally just like very stiff. And I was like, where does that come from? Like, where does that, I feel like I still, and I was like, because this is, I wish I had a crochet hook right by me. But like the way I hold my hook is like this. And I was like, and he was like, yeah, that's it. I was like, oh.
So you just hold it like you're holding your hook all the time?
I guess like whenever I'm talking, I guess I like do that
Okay.
unconsciously.
So you're a freak.
Interesting. Interesting.
Alright.
We were actually
Stretch girl.
yeah, I know. I need to.
Take
It
your
doesn't
advice.
hurt, but it will one day. But we were rewatching Phantom Thread the other day, which we've talked about on this podcast
Yes, we
before. But a Phantom Thread is like whenever you're a seamstress, like old seamstresses or people that have retired, like they still find themselves like doing the motion of like hand sewing. So I now have a phantom hook, even though I am not like 80 years old.
It's your next book title.
Phantom
hook.
Like ghost theme patterns.
But I think that's it, lads.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
Wowzers.
Those are all the tips you need. That's it. Don't listen to anybody else ever.
So true.
If
Yeah.
there were more to say, we would have said it.
Yeah.
True.
Don't look to anyone else for advice, please.
However, if you do want more, I bet we could craft up some.
Yeah. Like if you guys like really wanted it.
And it would
Really
only be
want-
valid coming from us.
From us.
Yeah.
We did
So-
genuinely try to like come up with a list that like was more than like the basics. What I wish I knew.
Everyone. Yeah.
We tried to really speak from experience, but if you didn't find this helpful, lie. Blatantly lie in our comments. Tell us that this was
Tell us it
perfect.
was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Thank
hear
you.
any critique
Thank you.
at all. So
No.
So
Anywho.
true.
Anyways, what are we watching?
I actually have an answer for this as opposed to last time. I watched the entirety of The Rehearsal by Nathan
how was it?
Fielder. It was so good. It's so good.
A couple months ago learned that he was Canadian.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I saw
he
a
gives
clip.
Canadian energy.
Right. There was like, I saw, obviously it was on TikTok. It was a clip from this show called, it's a Canadian, like, I think it's a sketch show called This Hour Has 23 Minutes.
Okay.
And we learned about it in university. And so it was like him when he was really young on the show. And I was like, this is how I'm finding out he's Canadian.
Yeah.
All right.
Canadian reveal.
Stealth Canadian.
That's beautiful. No, he's great. He's so... I don't know if you guys have watched... Neither of you have watched the show, right?
No, it's not for me.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm sorry.
It's like...
Stresses me out.
That's fair. It's kind of like... I don't know. The whole point is that you don't really know if it's like reality or scripted because it's presented as like kind of a reality. Like he just puts people... The first episode is him helping this guy practice like telling his friends that he doesn't have the accolades that he's said to them that he has his whole life. And I don't know, it develops, that's just the first episode of 6, and it gets so much wilder from there. And the characters, the people on the show are just so wild to the point where it's like, this can't be real. But if it is real, how did you come up with that? It's so wild. And I had heard stories about it like on and off from people I knew who watched it whenever it first came out. Actually experiencing it is a lot different. It made me cry at multiple points because I was so, I don't know. It's still like a comedy, and he never outright says anything about what the message is, but I don't know. I also watched like the first episode of The Curse, which he also did like a while ago. Yeah, with Emma Stone, yeah. And that's
whole,
also
like promotional everything for that was fantastic.
So good.
When the Anyone But You teaser came out, or it was like a promo that Glenn and Sydney had done.
Yeah.
Right? That's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. The turnaround on them recreating it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was incredible.
There's literally no one doing it like Nathan Fielder. Like the premises he comes up with, and everyone like also knows him. Like even if you don't think you know Nathan Fielder, like the audios just on TikTok that Nathan For You has spawned, everyone would recognize them. I don't know one off the top of my head.
No.
but I don't know. He has a very distinctive voice and manner. But yeah, that's what I have been doing. It's only 3 hours long, probably total. So it's not a ton. It's just basically a long movie. But yeah. Oh, I also watched Good Will Hunting for the first time. Pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was how like Matt Damon and what's his name? Ben Affleck got their start. I literally thought they were both like dunces. Like,
Filmed in Toronto
oh really? Nice.
at the
Everything's filmed
University
in Toronto.
of.
Beautiful. Love
Yeah.
that.
I had to
Not
watch
Harvard.
that. I watched that for one of my classes in university. I was like,
Really?
okay.
Yeah, that's Toronto for sure. Love that.
So, yeah.
That's what I've been doing.
Anna?
What about you, Morgan?
Oh.
Morgan, I'll let you go.
Me?
Wow.
Okay.
You.
Not
How
much because I'm
generous.
quite busy, so I'm not really watching a lot. I think we remember last episode I had finished Dairy Girls, and to
Yeah.
answer your question, yes, I am rewatching it
Of course. Of
with
course.
quickness and haste. It is living on my Netflix screen again.
Love.
I am also rewatching Mike's Mike Lost season 2 recap video.
Real.
Because why not?
Mm-hmm.
I need something to watch when I'm eating dinner.
Real. Don't we all?
And that's about it, I think.
Nice.
I recently made a playlist,
Whoa.
and it's titled Devastating, really. I haven't listened to it, but I was like, I just kind of need to make this so that all of my most upsetting songs are in one place. Because I notoriously listen to really depressing music. So.
That's great.
That's me.
What a beautiful time for you.
Anna?
I started a new book. It's by Carly Pierce, I want to say. She's known for she does like very summery reads.
Okay.
She just put out a new book just in time for summer. Thank you, Queen. I'm only a couple chapters in, but so far it is my favorite writing from her to date.
Yay.
I'm very much enjoying it. So that's exciting, especially because I've been in such like a deep reading slump, mainly because I've been in such a big life slump that I haven't been like watching or doing anything.
Yeah.
Just feeling stunning. So it feels really nice to have joy and excitement again. I've also been listening to devastating music. If you guys want to spend time wallowing, search up the playlist How Could a Person Know Everything at 18 but Nothing But 22. There's a whole playlist on that, basically around that feeling from the song Nothing New from Taylor and Phoebe. So I've been listening to that, but it's like I've been in the mood to listen to music, but also at the same time, like there's nothing I can find, and I want to listen to something that I already know the lyrics to. I don't want to explore for new music, but I also don't want to listen to anything that I do know the lyrics to. It's like I'm fussy right now. I don't know.
To be fair, Spotify is like, we actually will not be recommending you new music anymore. We're gonna give you a playlist, but it is one that you have already made for yourself. We're just gonna take credit for it.
Shuffled.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
we'll give
here
it
you go.
a funky little name.
They're like,
okay, hold on.
Should we do a day list?
Yeah.
I was about to say,
review?
everyone pull up your day list, because mine are so out of pocket. There was one that was like cutesy little depressed. like along those vibes. My day list right now, though.
This one is fucking insane.
What? We need the descriptions too, okay?
Lyricism Autumn Wednesday morning. You listen to singer-songwriter and gentle on Wednesday mornings. Here's some Lyricism Autumn Cinnamon Pumpkin Spice Chai Latte and Hot Chocolate. Hey, it starts with silk chiffon.
Oh my god, so does mine.
Whoa.
Is yours the same?
Okay. No, mine is
damn.
Plastique Chic Electropop Wednesday afternoon.
Okay, of course.
Obviously.
Well, yes.
And they said, this is what they're saying to me. They said, you listened to Bachelorette Party and Confidence on Wednesdays in the afternoon. Here's some Plastique Chic. What the fuck does that mean?
The way they write their captions, like, for the day lists is, if you scroll deep enough on YouTube videos or Etsy listings, we try to do SEO, so when you search, it'll appear in search, and it's just the most insane string of words that lightly relate to some part of something.
Yeah.
That's what that is. It's just buzzwords.
And genuinely, they're like, the first song is so fun, but I think they're doing this because they're like, you have listened to Chapel Roan.
Yes.
Real.
Yes.
My first song is
My-
a Chapel Roan song.
My favorite thing is how I listen to the same stuff every day, all of the time, and then they try to give me a new vibe per different time of the day. I'm like, you can't.
Yeah.
Let's
Girl,
just
not right.
don't try.
Don't try.
Mine is Aftermath Loops Wednesday morning.
Right.
You listen to antidepressant and bed rotting on Wednesdays in the morning.
They've just read you to filth, is what they did.
I'm not sure how those are
Hey,
compatible.
pardon?
How am I both antidepressant and bed
Bed
rotting?
rotting.
But here's some
I'm sorry.
loops.
Spotify should not anywhere in any copy that they ever write, including songs that other people can upload to their platform, have bed rotting.
Yeah. What?
That's not something you need on your platform.
No.
Thank you.
Oh,
But to
my
help me
God.
through my antidepressant and bed rotting life, they said, here's some loops: cat, aftermath, fearful, healing, and obsessed. And the first song is Good Luck, Babe by Chapel Roan. So,
Yes.
what
Thank you.
does that... Okay. The second song is Obsessed by Olivia Rodrigo.
Those are so anti-depressed bed rotting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're talking about.
That's like the what was it, like the blueberry milk nails?
We're just saying words.
It's light
and they
blue,
We're
don't
just
mean
saying
girl.
words, guys. It's,
They're like espresso hair. It's brown. It's brown.
it's
hair.
warm brunette. Congrats. Oh my God. Well,
They're just
that's
saying
fun.
stuff. Maybe they're saying, you know how like there was a conspiracy that like Starbucks told people to write names wrong so people would post it on social media?
Yeah.
Like they're just
Yes.
getting more ridiculous now, so people will post their
Oh,
day
yeah.
list. I think
Yeah.
that's my new conspiracy.
It's going to get to a point, they're not there yet, where it's going to be so bad that we all are talking about it because we're like, that's camp. Like,
yeah. Like,
they're
okay.
not quite there yet. They need to push it a little bit further.
Yes.
And then
Tell
I
me
think
that I'm
all of
having-
us will be talking about it.
I think they'll do
Tell me
that.
that-
They're raising their prices in the
They
US
are?
at least. Sorry, guys.
I'm losing my student discount too. This is devastating.
I act like I pay for it, so I'm on my family plan. But I'm like...
No need to brag.
Well, I actually just can't... We can't talk about this. I'll get really upset. I hate streaming. Bring back cable.
So true. So true. Bring back CDs.
Bring back cable.
Bring back
but-
physical media.
Yes.
Yeah, please. Anyways, I'm not like watching much of it. Oh, I started watching Priscilla for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And I am liking it so far. I think it's done very well. I find it interesting how I was admittedly like doing some stuff as I was watching, so I wasn't fully paying attention. But I feel like there's, at least in this first part, like first half, like a surprising lack of dialogue. I feel like that's so interesting. Like, at least I feel like from Priscilla herself, she hasn't really spoken that much.
That might be part of it.
I do think it is. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's like intentionally done, and I think it's very clever. Because I did watch like a video essay about it, just because I wasn't sure if I was going to watch Elvis
The
or
whole
Priscilla
thing.
anytime
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
So I had watched that like a while back. So I have like an understanding of like some of like the themes or like the intentionalities in the movie. And so now it's interesting to like actually watch it for myself and be able to pick up on it. Just because I miss a lot of that stuff when I'm watching media. I'm not very media literate in that way. So I appreciate hearing other people's opinions. And I just thought it was interesting. Like, I'm like, I feel like I haven't heard her speak that much. And I do think that's intentional. And I like, that's just so clever. Like, it's just, it's well done so far. So I'm excited to finish
That
watching
mind, Sophia. A smart one.
So smart, Sofia Coppola. So smart.
She's gonna be Kaylee's in the new Knives Out movie.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good. I love that. I love nepotism.
Fun. All right.
Anyways.
Anything else you guys have to say?
I don't think so.
it.
No.
No. All right.
I think it's
don't have
time.
I don't have the outro pulled up. Should I try to do it from memory?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just from Savannah
Yeah.
speaking it. I haven't said it in so long.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Crochet Authority podcast. If you liked it, which we know you did, make sure to give it 5 stars anywhere you can. Make sure to follow our social media. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. I lost the script. I was doing well. Make sure to follow our own personal social medias because we're perfect and you know you want to. What am I missing?
Nothing
Just saying
really.
goodbye.
That's
Bye.
it. Bye.
Bye guys, love you.